Well, I'm back here with a wrap-up of last week's dig. This is about 2 digs and what came out of what I deem collectible anyway. Let's start with the sodas and the beers. That's my main focus, and we're going to start out with the old RC. Now, this RC bottle is in rough shape. It did have a pyro on it. You can barely see it on there, but it's the late 30s, early 40s version, and you can see it says property of knee-high bottling. So before it went totally to RC, and you have a little primitive. This would have been a nice paint job on there, because it would have had the pyramids and the camels in the beginning. So, and this bottle is it looks to me like it's it's Owens, Illinois. So there you have that one. The other interesting bottle that came out of there is this one. I really like this one, Cub Beer, and what's important about this is it's for South Carolina. It's very local. It is a this beer comes from Columbia, South Carolina. So I was excited to find out that you don't find too many beers, especially in the South, that were produced after Prohibition. So most of them were national brands, but this one seemed to survive. I like it. It's a beautiful little bottle, and it's also Owens, Illinois. Another neck and bottom bottle that's early is this 7-Up. It's 7-Up on the bottom, also Owens, and it has the logo on the neck. This was a design that lasted not too long. It actually, by the late 40s, this was all pyro glaze, but you do have the embossing on this 1939, 40s type bottle. Another interesting bottle that I found, the Coke bottles are sort of common. We have Ridgeland, and thing about the Ridgeland bottle is that it is a Christmas Coke, but these Christmas Cokes are made with this design all the way up until 1938, from I think 28 to 48 to 38 rather, and in between the 1915s were still being used. So you might come across a 15 when you're also digging the Christmas Cokes. And the interesting thing about this is Lawrence Glass in Lawrence, South Carolina made these bottles. Their mark is at the bottom, right along there with that date. If I can find one there you go. There it is. And this is it looks like a 1936. So we're in the 30s for sure. Although it does say 1923. That was just a patent date for this particular style Coke. Some other interesting stuff here. We have a bottle that was obviously, it's a Undertaker Supply, and it's the Egyptian chemical company from Boston. That was probably embalming fluid, and it was interesting. I found these before, these Egyptian bottle companies. And let's come across some other interesting thing. This is an Ace Ace Bottling, and it is a Dr. Pepper company. I don't know Dr. Pepper where they were putting. I think they were in Ridgeland. I think so anyway. And we also have a LGW, which would have been again maybe a Lawrence glass, and it's probably made in the 1930s. It's a very plain bottle. I just picked it up because of the fact that it had a pyro, but that went away. The old favorites, Dr. B. Codwell's, and that was probably made by the, I think they're telling me, I was reading somewhere where it was the Pierce, Pierce glass, and that was made in the 30s in Pennsylvania, I think, glass company. So, but I think this was in somewhere in the Alleghenies. I forget where they said this company was, had different distribution. The glass company was pretty big at the time, Pierce, and that's a Codwell's from the 30s. It didn't change much from the 20s, actually. And an interesting bottle again, very common, but I'm glad I find these. And this is the poison. There's numbers that give you sort of the rarity of it. Poison collectors, this is one of the more common of the poisons, and it shows up in the 30s for definitely sure. Another interesting bottle is this one right here. It is a whiskey federal law, and it's a white Altanum from the 30s. They made this glass. They got into all kinds of container glass after the 20s, after they pretty much went out of the or expanded from the prescription drugs, which what they're famous for. But this is a nice bottle. I have a brown version of it, and pretty cool ship on there. Federal laws are pretty common, and that there's all different styles, so you keep your eye out for them. You might find a cool one. This one here is an interesting one. I've looked for it. I can't find any information on it. It's J.S. Witherton's and Company Georgia Boy syrup. I'm sure it was a cane syrup of some kind, very popular in country towns. This was used for putting on pancakes, putting in cereal, all kinds of uses, baking. So I'm sure this was a cane syrup company. But it's interesting, not a particularly pretty bottle, but hey, I look for bottles that I can find out about and I've never seen before, and that one is one of them. This here is a DG Fifth Avenue. It was probably had a foil label. It probably some kind of perfume, and the only logo is that down there. But I found that also interesting. What else do we have here? Oh, I like these jars. I collect them all the time if they're interesting. And here's a really cool one. This Argyll pattern I've never seen before. And these they had olives, they had cherries, they had candy. They're a very mix of stuff. So it could have been anything in here that food related. Relish. And I got a black cap on it. Probably had a metal cap originally. But cool little jar. I've never seen one like this before. And keep my eye open for different patterns and variants of this. And that's about it. I might be going out later this week to find more stuff. I still have a whole bunch of stuff down there in my box. There's nothing really special down there. I mean, you have this, which is the famous citric magnesia. With all that writing on there, you'd think, you know, it would be more interesting, but it does have that personal message: bottle not returnable for sanitary reasons. So that is a interesting message there. People might have used them for something else. Here's the Dr. Bell's pine tar and honey compound. Old bottle, old company. They were around a long time. This is sort of the ending of them. After the 30s and early 40s, you don't see Dr. Bell's embossed. There might be some. They lasted till the 50s, I think, but that's about the limit of them. So there you have it. My collection for the week. Oh yeah, the black Scottish. This is black glass. Probably a sherry. It could be a Scotch whiskey. It's definitely an older bottle because there's no federal law on it, and it has the Owens valve mark on it, so it was a machine-made bottle. But other than that, I'm sure it's European. I'm sure it's probably British Isles somewhere. But it's a cool bottle. I'm over to give that away. I don't need these plain whiskey bottles. You just get overwhelmed with them. But in the end, they all come to the fact that there's somebody out there looking for them for some reason. There you have it, my collection of the week. Come back with more. Take it easy. Bye.